And if we open one of these up, the inside of them is not dark. It's kind of a light yellow color. And if we take a little sample here. What's up, Lazy Dog fam? Hope all y'all are having a fantastic day. It is Monday, June 12th here in South Georgia, and it's a little too wet to be working in the garden today. We got a really good storm this morning, a much needed storm this morning. So I figured it'd be a good afternoon to do a little figging around here, show you some of the delicious fruits we've been enjoying over the last few days, and talk about the importance of irrigation with fruit trees and especially fig trees. So we've got some early figs on pretty much every established tree in our orchard here, but they're not all ripe yet. So today we're just going to focus on the trees that have some ripe figs on them, show you what they look like, tell you what they taste like. So let's start off with this monster here behind me, this brown turkey tree. And this tree is probably older than I am. I'm not sure when it was planted, but this brown turkey tree, of all the say 20 or 30 different varieties that we have on our property at the moment, is always one of the first to start producing ripe figs. Now this year, I don't think this tree is going to be as productive as it normally is, and we'll talk about why that is in a minute. You can see we got some damage there from that Arctic blast, some limbs that aren't producing any new growth, but we are still getting a decent amount of figs on this tree. There's two pretty looking ones right there. So brown turkey is a really popular fig variety. It's been around for a long time. It's really easy to grow, and it's what I call a gateway fig. And what I mean by that is if you want to get into this whole hobby of growing different fig varieties, brown turkey is a great one to start with because it's so easy to grow. So right here I have two fruits. This one here isn't quite at peak ripeness, but it's pretty close. Usually I'll go ahead and pick them when they look like this. This one is probably at peak ripeness and about to fall off the tree if we wouldn't have gotten it. So brown turkey is classified as a sugar fig, and if you haven't been to our website lately at lazydogfarm.com, I redid it recently, and we have all our fig tree varieties classified by flavor profile. So these sugar figs are really sweet. They're great for making jelly, and this is probably the type of fig that most people have had. When they think about figs, this is what they think they taste like. And they're absolutely delicious. Really sweet, really good flavor. So this has been our go-to jelly fig for many years because this tree produces so much. The other trees in our orchard are just now starting to kind of produce enough figs to warrant making a batch of jelly from those trees. But we've made many jars of jelly from this tree over the years. But we're probably not going to get as much jelly from this tree this year because, like I said, the production seems to have declined a little bit, and that's mostly our fault. I really need to get in here and do some aggressive pruning on this tree, put a little more emphasis on some of that new growth down in there and get rid of some of this old growth here. In the past, I've just pruned it so it doesn't hit me in the head when I'm cutting the grass, but I really need to work on this tree and aggressively prune it some this winter. And another reason this tree probably isn't going to be as productive this year has to do with water. Now, this tree doesn't have any kind of irrigation on it. I don't have a way to kind of tie it in to my other fig orchard over there. And when we get a dry spell of weather like we've been having the last few weeks, as the figs are trying to mature, we usually get substandard production. I don't ever think about it, but what I should do is just pull the water hose from the house there and just let it run beside this tree for say 30 minutes or so every now and then. I really need to make a point to do that. That way we can get optimal production from this tree. When we show you some of the other trees in our orchard in a minute that are on an irrigation system, you'll be able to see a noticeable difference in production and fruit size. So let's compare that brown turkey tree, which isn't on any kind of irrigation, to this LSU gold tree here, which is on an irrigation system. And we can see just how healthy this tree looks and just how loaded it is. And we're starting to get a few of these that are really getting close. Look how big those rascals are right there. Now, while most of you have probably had a sugar fig like a brown turkey before, I bet the majority of you have probably never tried a honey fig. And these taste completely different than those sugar figs I showed you earlier. So these honey figs are actually green or kind of yellowish when they mature. They're not dark brown or purple like the sugar figs are. And if we open one of these up, the inside of them is not dark. It's kind of a light yellow color. And if we take a little sample here, tastes like honey. Got some hints of agave in there as well. Doesn't taste really anything like that sugar fig, but these are absolutely delicious and some of my favorites. And as you can see here, the fruits on these are absolutely massive. They're not quite as big as a tennis ball, but they're not far from it. And this tree right here didn't always make massive figs like this. Within the last year or so, I just tied this fig tree in to our orchard irrigation system. So before I was watering this tree on a regular basis with our irrigation system, the figs from this tree were pretty good size, but I would say they were about half the size of this. So when we start watering the trees regularly, we get healthy looking trees, we get better production, and we get bigger figs. And as we make our way back over to the main part of the orchard to find some more ripe figs, I will tell you we have a few, not many, brown turkey trees left on the website. We've got even fewer of these LSU Gold fig trees on the website. They will sell out, and once they do, we won't have any more until next spring. So if you want one of these, better get them quick. So now back over here in the main orchard, we've got one more tree that's giving us some delicious figs at the moment, and that's this LSU Tiger tree right here. And this tree is going to be a good example, a good time to tell you how you know when a fig is ripe and ready to pick. And what I'm about to show you here is why sometimes I pick my figs before they get to peak ripeness, because sometimes they can get taken from you. So these LSU Tiger figs will start out green, as we see right there. Then as they start to ripen a little bit, they'll get some color on them, get some stripes on them, which is kind of a signature trait of these LSU Tiger figs. And then as they fully ripen, they'll start to hang a little bit and darken up like that one right there. But if you fig around for too long, leave them on the tree, this right here can happen. The bugs or the birds will get after them and you have officially lost a fig. That's why a lot of times I'll pick them like this right here before they've actually fully matured, because at least we still get to enjoy them. So to give you an example, and hopefully you can see the color difference on camera here, this is an LSU Tiger fig that is fully ripe by most fig grower standards. This one here probably could stand to be on there a few more days. Like I said, a lot of times I'll pick these and these. Let me show you the difference in the inside color. So if we look at the inside of these, can't tell a whole lot of difference. This one that wasn't quite fully ripe may be a little more pink than this one here. The red color on this one may be a little bit darker. That one that's fully ripe is absolutely delicious. And that one there is absolutely delicious. This one may be a hair bit sweeter, but there's nothing wrong at all with go ahead and pulling that one and eating it. So these LSU Tiger figs here are classified as a sugar berry fig, so sometimes they can kind of sit between two flavor profiles. Now on our website we have them in the sugar fig category just to keep things simple, but they do have some berry notes. Tastes a lot like a sugar fig, but you get those berry notes in there as well. Now for the LSU Tiger trees we had, those things went really fast earlier in the year, and I think we only have about 3 or 4 left at the time I'm shooting this video. They might be gone by the time this video airs in a week or so, but you can go to our website, check it out, see if they're still there. Really fast growing variety, and if you water it really well, you might even get some figs in the second year. And I also wanted to show you this real quick. So a couple weeks ago we did a video talking about a little unintentional experiment we did with mushroom compost in these pots versus just kind of a standard potting mix, and how the ones with mushroom compost in them have just kind of taken off. Here's one of those Olympian figs that has mushroom compost in the pot, and look at there. This tree was rooted back in November, so it's only what, maybe 8 months old, and it's already getting some little bitty figs on there. Now I don't know if these will fully ripen since this tree is so young. That goes to show you, you can get some really early production on some of these varieties. And while I can't guarantee a certain window of production for any variety we carry, because everybody's climate's different, everybody's soil's different, everybody's watering schedule is different. This just goes to show you here that you don't have to be too patient when it comes to figs. If you treat them right, they'll reward you. And because these Olympian trees have grown so fast, I actually recently had to get some larger boxes to ship these taller trees. They have outgrown the normal boxes we use to ship these trees, but that's okay. Those taller boxes work perfectly fine, and now we can ship these trees that have gotten really tall and that already have a few figs on them. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off this year or not, but my goal was to try and make some small batches of variety specific jelly. So we made a lot of jelly with the brown turkey tree that we showed you earlier. I'd like to make some LSU tiger jelly, maybe some LSU gold jelly, some Canadria jelly. And these trees in here are just starting to produce enough figs where we could do a small batch of jelly from each tree. The one thing that's going to prohibit me from doing that would be the birds a little bit, like I showed you earlier, but my middle child, Titus, he comes out here and eats these things like crazy. So I'll think I got a lot of figs to pick, and then I'll come out here and he's just ravaged all of our figs. But I'm not going to complain about that. I'm glad he likes them as much as I do. Oh yeah, one more thing about the irrigation I failed to mention earlier. So each of my trees has one 1 gallon per hour emitter beside the tree, and assuming no rainfall, I'll water each tree for say 30 hours a week off and on. That's not at one time. It's kind of split up into every other day or so. So each of my trees are getting around 30 gallons a week of water, which seems like a lot, but in our sandy soils down here, doesn't ever really waterlog the soil. The trees soak it up and they grow really fast and produce some nice fruit for us. Not saying you could pull that off in every soil type, but down here in our sandy soils, we can get away with it. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. I'm going to get back to enjoying my afternoon snacks here. You can find all our fig tree varieties on our website at lazydogfarm.com. And if you want to see how we set up our fig tree irrigation system that would work for pretty much any kind of fruit tree, check out this video right here. We got a step-by-step installation showing you how we did it. So check that out, and we'll see you next time right here at Lazy Dog Farm.